What if I told you that one narrow strip of water could raise fuel prices, shake global markets, and push the world toward a crisis in just days? Before we begin, comment below, which country do you think would suffer first if the Strait of Hormuz suddenly shut down? And stay with me till the end, because what looks tiny on a map may actually be one of the most dangerous pressure points on Earth.
On a map, the Strait of Hormuz does not look impressive. It is narrow, quiet, and easy to ignore. But this thin stretch of water connects the Persian Gulf to the open ocean. And through this route, a huge share of the world's oil and energy supply moves every single day. That means this is not just a body of water, it is a global lifeline. If this passage is disrupted, the impact does not stay in the Middle East. It travels fast into shipping routes, oil prices, inflation, supply chains, and eventually into the daily lives of millions of people around the world. So the real question is not just where is Hormuz? The real question is, why does so much of the modern world depend on something so small?
The Strait of Hormuz sits between Iran to the north and Oman to the south. At its narrowest point, it is shockingly tight for a route carrying so much of the world's energy traffic. This is why experts call it a choke point. Not because it is famous, not because it is large, but because too much depends on it. Oil tankers, gas shipments, and strategic trade pass through this corridor constantly. And when too much of the world relies on one narrow route, even a short disruption can send a message to global markets. That is what makes Hormuz so powerful. Its strength does not come from size, it comes from position. And that is what makes it dangerous too. Let me ask you this. If a place this small can influence the entire global economy, is that efficiency? Or is that a hidden weakness? Drop your answer in the comments, because by the end of this video, you may see global trade very differently.
The fear around Hormuz is simple. In calm times, it is one of the most important shipping corridors on Earth. But in tense times, it becomes a pressure chamber. Warships patrol nearby. Missiles, drones, and naval threats are always part of the conversation. And because the route is so narrow, risk builds quickly. A disruption here would not need to last for months to cause panic. Sometimes, uncertainty alone is enough. Because markets react before shortages become total. Insurance costs rise, shipping slows down, oil traders panic, governments start calculating emergency responses, and suddenly a local crisis becomes a global signal. That is the true power of Hormuz. It can turn geography into leverage.
But here is the deeper truth most people miss. Hormuz is not just about oil. It is about how modern civilization works. We built a world that depends on uninterrupted flow. Fuel must keep moving. Ships must keep crossing. Supply chains must stay on schedule. And the moment one narrow passage becomes unstable, the illusion of stability starts to crack. In other words, Hormuz exposes a weakness at the heart of globalization. The world looks massive, but sometimes it is held together by very fragile lines. And Hormuz is one of those lines. What makes this story even more fascinating is the contradiction, because the Strait of Hormuz is not only a zone of tension, it is also surrounded by surreal beauty, deep history, and landscapes that look almost unreal. Red beaches, salt caves, ancient forts,
remote islands, old cultures that existed long before oil tankers and military maps took over the story. That contrast is what makes Hormuz unforgettable. It is a place where breathtaking beauty and global danger exist in the same frame. A place that can look peaceful on the surface while carrying the pressure of the modern world underneath. And maybe that is why Hormuz captures attention so easily. It does not just control energy routes, it controls imagination. But here's the part most viewers never think about. If Hormuz is so important, why hasn't the world created a real alternative? Hold that thought, because the answer reveals something uncomfortable about global power.
In theory, countries always want backup options, alternative routes, extra pipelines, more flexibility. But in reality, replacing Hormuz is incredibly difficult. Why? Because geography still wins. You can build technology, you can build policy, you can build alliances, but you cannot easily rebuild the map. And when geography creates a narrow funnel, the whole world is forced to respect it. That is why Hormuz remains so critical. Not because leaders want dependency, but because dependency has already been built into the system. And once a system depends on one corridor for too long, even discussing closure becomes enough to shake the world.
So when people talk about the Strait of Hormuz, they are not just talking about a route on the sea. They are talking about energy, fear, power, fragility, and the uncomfortable reality that a narrow strip of water can influence prices, politics, and peace far beyond its own shores. Hormuz teaches a brutal lesson. A place does not need to be big to be decisive. It only needs to sit where the world cannot easily look away. And this tiny stretch of water sits exactly there. So now, I want to hear from you. If the Strait of Hormuz were closed for even a week, what do you think would hit first? Oil prices, global shipping, or political chaos? Comment your answer below. And if you enjoy videos that break down hidden power, geopolitics, and the unseen forces shaping our world, subscribe to MNIStry, because sometimes the smallest places carry the biggest consequences.